problems related to priority scheduling, considering the processes with same arrival time and processes with different arrival time. I think last class we have solved the problem uh, where we have considered processes with the same arrival time. Yes or no? Can anyone confirm me? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think we have solved with the four processes having the same arrival time. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now come to processes with a different arrival time. Processes with different arrival time is that we have completed.
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So let's start from that point. Is the screen visible to you? So at time 0, what are the processes to be there in the ready queue?
P1, P2.
P1, P2.
P1, P2. So just check what I am doing. P1 is the process and P2 is the second one that is at the time 0 in the ready queue. Now here for P1 the host time given is 5, just above the ready queue I am representing that. For P2 it was given 3. Now here I am writing the symbol P for representing the priority or PR for representing the priority. Okay. So for P1 the priority given is 4. For P2 priority given is 3. So now tell me which process will be considered to be allocated to the CPU. At time 0, what will be the
P2.
process selected for execution by the CPU? Which one?
P2.
P2.
P2. Because the scheduler is going to compare the priority number. So compared to 3 and 4, you will clearly find that the priority number 3 is the smaller one. That means P2 having higher priority compared to P1. So initially P2 will be allocated to execute by the CPU. Now as it is given non-preemptive, so once P2 started means it will continue up to
3.
3. 0 plus the burst time of P2, that is 3. Okay, so P2 is now completed. Now while P2 is executing, just check at time 1 a new process enters, that is P3 in the ready queue. Okay, at time 1 P3 enters the ready queue. The corresponding burst time is 1 and the corresponding priority is 2. Similarly, at time 2, another process enters into the ready queue, that is your P4. Its corresponding burst time is 6 and the priority is 5. So after completion of P2, when the scheduler check in the ready queue, now there are 3 processes in the ready queue, P1, P3 and P4. Who will tell me what will be the next process to be selected for execution? What will be the next process to be selected for execution out of these P1, P3, P4? Which process having the highest
P3.
priority now?
P3.
P3.
P3. Okay, so here it was priority number when it is compared, it is 2. So now P3 will be selected and will be allocated to the CPU. Now P3 will continue up to P3 will continue
5.
up to
5. 5.
no. What is the burst time of P3?
Sorry, 1. No, 4, 4, 4.
Burst time of P3 is 1. So 3 plus 1, it will continue up to 4. Carefully just check. Okay. Accordingly, you also write in your copy. So at 4, now another process enters into the ready queue, that is your P5. At time 4, P5 enters. For P5, the burst time is given as 2 and the priority number is given as 1. So by 4, P3 has already completed its task also. So now tell me what will be the next process to be selected for execution? What will be the next process to be selected for execution? Now there are 3 processes, P1, P4, P5. So which process having highest priority now?
P5.
P5, because the priority is, the number is 1 here. That means P5 is now having highest priority. So now P5 starts its execution at time 4. It will continue up to
6.
6. 4 plus 2. The CPU burst time for P5 is 6. So 2. So 4 plus 2, that is 6. Now after P5, what will be the next process to be executed by the CPU?
P1.
Next one is P1, which having higher priority. Okay. 4, comparing 4 and 5, 4 is the smallest one. So next high priority process is P1. So after P5, P1 will start its execution at time 6. So now P1 will continue up to
11.
11. 6 plus 5, that is 11. Then finally, the process that you will execute is your P4. And P4 will continue up to
6. 17.
17. 11 plus 6, that is 17. Clear? Or any doubt? So remember, here When the scheduler wants to select a process, it is comparing its priority number, not the burst time. Okay, but when to find out the finish time, starting time plus the burst time give you the finish time. Clear? Now let's find out the turnaround time. For P1, what will be the turnaround time? What will be the turnaround time for P1? Yes. What will be the turnaround time for P1? What is the formula for turnaround time? Finish time minus arrival time. So what will be the turnaround time for P1? Look at the Knapp check and tell me.
6 minus 4.
For P1, what is the finish time for P1? In the Knapp check,
11 minus 0.
11 minus 0, that is 11.
It's 11 is 0.
0 is the arrival time given in the table here.
Yes, ma'am.
P1
Yes.
completed its execution at 11. It has arrived at time 0. So 11 minus 0, that is 11. Okay, for P2,
Yes, ma'am. 3 minus 0.
3 minus 0, that is 3. For P3, for P3,
3.
3. 4 minus 1, 3. For P4,
15.
17 minus 2.
17 minus 2, that is 15. For P5,
6 minus 4, 2.
6 minus 4, that is 2. So now quickly find out the average turnaround time. What will be the average turnaround time? कितना हुआ? Yes. Use the calculator.
6.8. Ma'am, 6.8.
Very good. 6.8. Now let's find out the waiting time. For P1, already I have written the formula for waiting time. Simply subtract the burst time from the turnaround time. So for P1, what will be the waiting time?
11 minus 5.
11 minus 5, that is 6.
6.
For P2, quick,
0.
3 minus 3, that is 0. For P3,
2.
3 minus 1, that is 2. For P4,
9.
15 minus 6, that is 9. For P5,
0.
2 minus 2, that is 0. Now calculate the average turnaround time. What will be the average waiting time? Yes,
Ma'am, 3.4.
3.4. Now let's find out the response time. For P1, What will be the response time? Am I audible or not?
Six for the first response. P1
6
6.
minus 0, that is 6. For P2,
The 0.
0 minus 0, that is 0. For P3,
2.
3 minus 1, that is 2. For P4,
11 minus 2. 11 minus 2,
11
that is 9.
minus 2, that is 9. For P5,
4 minus 4, 0.
4 minus 4, that is 0. So just check what you find here. The response time for each process is same with its waiting time. So if you will find the average response time, you will find it is 3.4. Clear or any doubt? Anyone
Clear,
has
ma'am. Clear.
any doubt in this non-preemptive priority scheduling? All of you have written this problem? All of you have written this problem or any doubt?
No doubt, ma'am.
Okay. So now come to the preemptive priority scheduling. Once again, write the same problem. Now let's solve it using the concept using your preemptive priority scheduling. So again here, as the arrival times are different, let's draw the ready queue. So at time 0, here also there are two processes that will enter into the ready queue. One is P1, another one is P2. Now if you will represent the burst time of P1, that is 5. For P2 it is 3. If you will write the priority for P1 it is 4. For P2 it is 3. So now the first process to be allocated to the CPU is P2 because P2 having the highest priority. Low number, high priority. So P2 will be now assigned to the CPU first. At time 0, P2 starts its execution. Now just look at the arrival time of the processes. Here at time 1, while P2 is executing, at time 1, a new process enters. That is your P3. Now for P3, the burst time is given is 1 and priority is given is 2. So as it is a preemptive priority, so what the scheduler will do? The scheduler will compare the priority number of the new process, that means P3. Okay, its priority number is 2. It compare it with the priority of the currently executing process. So currently executing process is P2, whose priority is 3. So now among 2 and 3, which is the lower one? 2. That means among P2 and P3, now which having higher priority? Among P2 and P3, which having the higher priority? Yes,
P3.
P3. So at time 1, the scheduler finds that a new process enters into the ready queue which having higher priority compared to the currently executing process. So what will happen? Simply P2 will be preempted. So after being preempted, P2 again will come back to your ready queue. P2 will be stored in the ready queue. Now when it will again store back in the ready queue, it will store with the remaining burst time. So by 1, P2 has already completed execution for 1 millisecond. So the remaining burst time for P2 is 3 minus 1, that is 2 here. But there is no changes in its priority number. So the priority number of P2 remains same, that is 3. What the thing? When a process is preempted, it is again stored back in the ready queue with the remaining burst time without any changes in its priority number. Now in place of P2, now P3 will continue its execution. So P3 is removed from the ready queue and assigned to the CPU. At time 1, P3 continues. Now while P3 is executing, again just look at the arrival time. At time 2, the next process enters into the ready queue, that is your P4. Okay, so at time 2, now P4 enters into the ready queue. For P4, the burst time is 6 and the priority is 5. So now just check, as the burst time of P3 was 1, so 1 plus 1, 2, by 2, P3 has already completed its execution. So no need to compare the priority of P3 with the priority of P2. Because by that time, P3 has already completed its execution. So now who will tell me what will be the next process to be selected for execution by the CPU, by the scheduler? There are 3 processes, P1, P2, P4 are there in the ready queue. What will be the next process to be selected for execution by the scheduler? Yes. Which one will be selected now? Abhisekar, are you there? Abhisekar? Am I audible or not?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Then tell me, out of this P1, P2, P4, which one will be allocated to the CPU now?
P2.
P2.
Yes, ma'am,
Because
P2.
now P2, comparing the priority number of P1, P2, P4, again you find that P2 having the highest priority. Okay. So now P2 once again is allocated to the CPU at time 2. After P3 has completed, once again P2 is allocated. Now, the new process, the next process enters into the ready queue is at time 4. So, at time 4, next the process that is P5 enters into the ready queue, whose burst time is 2 and the priority number is 1. Clear? So, now just check. By time 4, P2 has already completed its execution. Because for P2, the remaining burst time was 2. So 2 plus 2, 4. So when P5 enters into the ready queue, at that time P2 has already completed its execution. So now there are three processes in the ready queue. One is P1, next is P4, and third one is your P5. Now who will tell me what will be the next process to be allocated to the CPU for execution?
P5.
That is P5, because P5 having the priority number 1. So P5 will start its execution at 4. It will continue up to
6.
There is no other processes which are arriving to the ready queue, so simply P5 will continue up to 6. So after P5, what is the next process to be allocated to the CPU?
P1.
P1. So now P1 will be allocated to the CPU at time 6, and it will continue up to
7.
yes. For P1, what is
11.
the first time? 5.
Okay,
So 6
sorry.
plus 5,
11.
that is 11. Okay. So after P1, the final one is your P4, which will continue up to yes. What is the first time of P4? 6. So P4 will continue up to
17.
17. Clear? Now let's find out the turnaround time, waiting time, and the response time looking at the NAT chart. Remember the priority number the scheduler is only using during selection of the process. After that, during calculating the turnaround time, waiting time, response time, there is no use of that priority number. So turnaround time, as you know, finish time minus arrival time. So now looking at the black chart, tell me for P1 what will be the turnaround time? What will be the turnaround time for P1?
11.
Yes,
11.
11. For P2,
4.
4. For P3,
P3. 1.
P3 is 2 minus 1, that is 1. Correct. For P4,
15 and 15. P4.
17 minus 2, that is 15. For P5,
P5. It's 6 minus 4, which is 2.
6
2.
minus 4, that is 2. So what is the average turnaround time?
6.6.
6.6. The same problem when we have solved using the non-preemptive priority scheduling, we have got the average turnaround time as 6.8. But now here it is 6.6. Okay, always the preemptive one is better compared to your non-preemptive one. Now coming to the waiting time, the turnaround time minus the burst time. So now tell me what will be the waiting time for P1? Waiting time for P1,
6.
that is 6. 11 minus 5, that is 6. For P2,
4 minus 3, 1.
correct. For P3,
0.
1 minus 1, 0. For P4, P4,
10.
no,
13. 13 minus
no. Look at the
9.
formula.
9.
15 minus 6, that is 9. 15 minus 6, look at the formula. Okay. Priority is not going to be used during calculation of your turnaround time, waiting time, and the response time. Next for P5,
0.
2 minus 2, that is 0. Average turnaround time, average waiting time,
3.2.
3.2. In the previous case, it was, I think, 3.4. So now let's find out the response time. Fast response minus arrival time. For P1, what will be the response time? Yes,
6.
6. 6 minus 0, that is 6. For P2,
0.
2.
0. First time it gets the CPU at time 0 minus the arrival time 0. So 0 minus 0, that is 0. For P3,
0.
again 0. 1 minus 1, that is 0. For P4,
0.
no.
9.
11 minus 2, that is 9. For P5,
0.
0. 4 minus 4, that is 0. So, are you finding the same response time and waiting time for all the processes? Are you finding the waiting time and the same waiting time and response time for all the processes?
No,
Yes or
ma'am.
no? No. What is the average response time here?
3.
3. So as this is a primitive priority scheduling, so the average waiting time and the average response time are not same. Okay? In the previous two examples, they are non-preemptive one. So they are, in that case, the waiting time and response time of all the processes are same, giving you the average waiting time and average response time also same. Any doubt? Any doubt with respect to primitive priority scheduling? So remember one clue, don't forget to draw the ready queue. Otherwise, you will do a lot of mistake in generating your Gantt chart. And once the Gantt chart will be wrong, then automatically all other figures will be wrong. So now next type of scheduling that we are going to discuss is your round robin scheduling. Now round robin scheduling is designed especially for your time sharing systems. It is similar to your fast come fast serve scheduling with preemption. By default, fast come fast serve scheduling is a non-preemptive one. Similarly, by default, round robin scheduling is a preemptive one. Okay, your SJF and priority, it may be preemptive, it may be non-preemptive, but FCFS is always non-preemptive. Round robin is always preemptive. Now, according to the concept of round robin scheduling, a small time unit called time quantum is specified. Okay, a small time unit called time quantum is specified. Now, each process gets gets a small unit of CPU time. That is, whatever may be the time quantum, that much time the process will be allocated to the CPU. Now, either the process will complete its execution within one time quantum, or it may take more than that. So, after one time quantum has completed, after the time has been elapsed, simply one interrupt will occur, and the process will be preempted and again stored back in the ready queue. Got the thing? It is simply going to be added to the end of the ready queue. So here also the ready queue is treated as a circular queue. So the CPU scheduler simply goes around the ready queue, allocating the CPU to each process for a time interval up to one time quantum. Now, if there are n processes in the ready queue and the time quantum is q, then each process gets 1 by n of the CPU time in terms of at most q time units at once. So, no process waits more than n minus 1 into q time units. Now, there is a timer which interrupts after every time quantum to schedule the next process. So, if a process has a CPU burst less than the one time quantum, then the process will itself release the CPU voluntarily. Remember, if a process has a CPU burst less than one time quantum, then the process will itself release the CPU voluntarily. The scheduler will then proceed to the next process in the ready queue. Otherwise, if the CPU burst of the currently running process is longer than the one time quantum, then the timer will go off and will cause an interrupt to the operating system. The context switch will be executed and the process will be put at the tail of the ready queue. And the scheduler simply select the next process from the ready queue for execution. Now, normally the average waiting time or the average turnaround time under your round robin policy is quite long. It is a preemptive scheduling, as I have told you. So, if a process's CPU burst exceeds one time quantum, that process is preempted and again stored back in the ready queue with the remaining burst time. So, no process is allocated the CPU more than one time quantum in a row. Again, remember the performance of the round robin scheduling depends on the size of the time quantum. If the time quantum, here it was represented with the notation q, if it is too large, then the round robin policy or round robin scheduling algorithm works similar to the fast come fast serve scheduling. If the time quantum will be very small, then the round robin approach is called process sharing, and it appears to the users as each of the n processes has their own processor running at 1 by nth speed of the real processor. So if there are n processes in the ready queue and the time quantum is q, then each process gets 1 by nth of the CPU time for q times. So each process must wait no longer than n minus 1 into q times until its next time quantum. So remember, the value of the q must be large with respect to the context switch. Otherwise, it will create a lot of overhead. Okay. So now here also we are going to solve the problem with respect to round robin scheduling. With the processes having same arrival time and the processes having different arrival time. So before going to the problem, all of you first attend this quiz. confusion होगी. Last 2 minutes. Quickly submit your response to the quiz. Now come to the problem using round robin scheduling. So there are 4 processes P1, P2, P3, P4, all having the arrival time 0. So that means at the time 0, initially all the 4 processes are there in the ready queue. At time 0, all are there in the ready queue. P1, your P2, P3 and P4. So now for P1 the burst time given is 6, for P2 it is 8, for P3 it is 7, for P4 it is 3 given to you. Now the time quantum value is given is 5 milliseconds. That means the CPU will be allocated to each process for maximum up to 5 milliseconds. One time quantum at a time. After that, the process will be preempted. So at time 0, the way we are choosing the first process which enters into the ready queue first, same procedure will be used. So here it will first choose the process P1. So at time 0, P1 will be allocated to the CPU first. Now in fast come fast serve scheduling, P1 is continue up to its termination. But here P1 will continue for one time quantum. That means it will continue up to 5. After 5 milliseconds, P1 simply is going to be preempted and again stored back in the ready queue with the remaining burst time, that is 6 minus 5, that equal to 1. With the remaining burst time 1, P1 once again stored back in the ready queue. After P1, the next process to be allocated to the CPU is P2. So P2 will also be executed for one time quantum. That means from 5 to 10. Okay, P2 will also not able to complete its execution within one time quantum. So what will happen to P2 now? P2 again preempted and stored back in the ready queue at time 10 with the remaining burst time, that is 8 minus 5, 3. After P2 has completed, after P2 has been printed and stored back in the ready queue, the next process selected by the scheduler is P3. For P3 again the burst time is 7. That means P3 cannot complete it within one time quantum. So P3 will continue up to 15, and after one time quantum is expired, again P3 is printed and stored back in the ready queue. So at 15, again P3 enters into the ready queue with the remaining burst time. That means 7 minus 5, that is 2. So after P3, the next process in the ready queue is P4. So now P4 will be allocated. For P4, the burst time is 3, which is less than one time quantum. So after 3 milliseconds, when P4 has completed its execution, it will simply release the signal. That means here P4 will continue up to 15 plus 3, that is 18. After P4, after P4 has completed, now there are 3 processes P1, P2, P3 in the ready queue. So now the scheduler again selects the process which is at the head of the queue, that means P1. So now P1 once again allocated at time 80. As the burst time of remaining burst time is 1, so it will not take completely one time quantum to complete its execution. So it will continue here up to 90. Then after P1 has completed, the next process in the head of the ready queue is P2. So P2 will be taken and allocated to the CPU. Now for P2, the remaining burst time is 3. So again it is not required the complete time quantum of 5. So it will continue up to 19 plus 3, that is 22. And after P2 has completed its execution, P3 will be allocated to the CPU. For P3, the remaining burst time is 2. So it also continue up to 22 plus 2, that is 24. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
So now it is your homework. I have drawn the graph chart. I have shown the ready queue. So draw it. Now your homework to complete that table. The turnaround time, waiting time and response time of each process.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now respond to your roll call.
और रोल कॉल भी बाकी है.
No, नहीं चाहिए. You may lead. Shikhar sir.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ. If you want, you can lead.
मैम टेस्ट दिया ना मैम, उससे तो हो ही सकता था. अच्छा ठीक है मैम, ले लीजिए, 2 मिनट लगेगा.
टेस्ट तो बच्चे क्लास अटेंड करके भी नहीं दे देते हैं. अभिजीत.
मैम. प्रेजेंट मैम.
अंकित.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
साइमन. पार्थसारथी मल्लिक.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
तन्या झा.
Present, ma'am.
आशुतोष मिश्रा.
Yes, ma'am.
सुशील कुमार.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
राहुल सेनापति.
Yes, ma'am.
आयुष्मान रे.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
चंद्रकांत गुप्ता.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
अतीश राज. ज्योतिष नायक.
Present, ma'am.
प्रत्युष
Present,
पटेल.
ma'am.
हेलो.
हाँ, प्रत्युष पटेल.
प्रेजेंट मैम. हेलो.
अनूप कुमार मुखर्जी. अनूप कुमार मुखर्जी. हरिओम कुमार. हरिओम कुमार. संदीप मिश्रा.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
त्रिविक्रम पटनायक.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
नितिरंजन बिस्वा. नितिरंजन बिस्वा. राजीव दुबे.
Present, ma'am.
स्वीकृति मोदक.
Present, ma'am.
संबित कुमार साहू. कृष्णा मुरारी शर्मा.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
रिहान अहमद खान. दिव्य प्रकाश नायक. दिव्य प्रकाश नायक. काकन चटर्जी.
Present, ma'am.
आशुतोष सिन्हा.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
देवज्योति दास.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
शिखर स्वरूप.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
सौम्य महापात्र. सौम्य महापात्र. शीर्षक सामंतराय.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
अनन्या लेंका. पृथ्वी नम्र महापात्र.
Present, ma'am.
खुशी.
Present, ma'am.
निहार रंजन.
Present, ma'am.
शिबुलु दास.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
निकिता रोजालिन.
Present, ma'am.
कृष्णा समल.
Present, ma'am.
अभिषेकर.
Present, ma'am.
केप मोहम्मदी. अंजलि गौरव.
Present, ma'am.
प्रियव्रत दास.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
अलीसा पटनायक.
Present, ma'am.
दिव्य दर्शन.
प्रेजेंट मैम.
Aditya,
Present, ma'am.
Diksha Kumari,
Present, ma'am.
Amrit Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Rajesh Kumar Pari, Satyanarayan Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Prajwal Kumar,
Yes, ma'am.
Rupam Kumar Meher.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can leave the class.